How are you dealing with all the crazy that's going on in the world? So many crazy things are happening and they're coming at us from different angles. You almost can't even keep up with it. That doesn't even include the people that you see in your own world and in your own families that are suffering, or maybe you are actually experiencing a crisis. How are you dealing with it? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about something so powerful that it could literally change the world. And it can certainly help yourself or someone you love in the midst of suffering. And it came to me yesterday. I was talking to my coach in the morning, and then I went for a walk, and I had this grand epiphany that when we see suffering, it comes in layers. And the first layer is pity. Let's say you're walking down the street and you see somebody begging for food, or you see a homeless person. You might feel pity for them. Well, nobody wants to be pitied because it is a low vibration, and nobody wants to be. It's almost like you're pushing them down when you pity them. That's not a great place. The second place is sympathy. That's where you see someone suffering and you might say, wow, I can see you lost your job. That's really terrible. And then you move on. You don't feel for them, but you can recognize that it's a problem. Or you might say, I see that you lost your job. Don't worry, you'll get another one. You're not really understanding. That's kind of like you have sympathy for them. The next layer is empathy. This is where you see that the person is suffering and you stop, you listen, and you connect. And it's not just listening for the story, but listening to understand. And you actually feel their suffering. You feel what they're feeling. And the person who is going through what they're going through, they can recognize that you get them, that they're not alone, and that you really do understand. So it's a very, very powerful thing is when you can empathize with someone, when you can really connect. Now, here's where my epiphany came from. When you have empathy for someone, you don't want to get stuck there. If they're down because something is going on in their life and you feel for them and you have empathy, you don't want to stay in that low vibration with them because it doesn't benefit them and it doesn't benefit you. You need to turn it around and you need to move to the next level, and that's compassion. Compassion is where you empathize with them, you feel for them, you feel the suffering they're going through, and then you recognize, I've got to raise my vibration because they're going through what they're going through. You have to raise your vibration so that you can encourage them and help them rise up. And that might look like, I understand your suffering and I feel for you, I really do. And I just want you to know that I'm going to be here for you. Anything you might need. Or it might be just being with them in silence. Or it might be literally going with them and fighting on their behalf, or fighting with them, or handling some other issues. But compassion is when you have felt what they're feeling and then you can encourage them. That's a powerful, powerful thing, because if you're an empath like me, we wear it on ourselves. We feel the empathy, but we almost feel guilty being happy because we think that, well, if they're suffering, we should be suffering too. And an empath like myself, we don't just feel, but we take it on our body physically. I feel if someone has a gut problem, I feel it. If someone has sometimes a back pain, I can literally feel it on my body. That's not a healthy thing. And so collectively, like for the whole world, it's not a healthy thing. If you see suffering on a large scale, like right now, what's going on in Ohio with that train crash, and it's releasing toxic chemicals in the air, and people are suffering because the water is so contaminated, and it's terrible. It's a big problem, and you can feel their suffering. But what you want to do is raise your vibration and offer hope. Offer hope, and it could be through good thoughts, it could be through prayer, it could be through words of encouragement. But hope is what we all need in this time of crazy. So yes, when you hear something about someone or something going on in the world, go ahead and feel it. Feel the fear, the sadness, the pain, and then release it. Let it go and turn it into compassion. And send them love, send them encouragement, tell them you'll be there for them. Do what you need to do to raise your vibration, because it's when we raise our vibration in the midst of the world suffering, that's how we're going to change the world. And that's how we're going to keep ourselves from not staying in that pain mode. Don't be an empath that it gets stuck there. Empathize and then rise back up into compassion. I hope that was super awesome for you as it was for me. It was so transformational for me yesterday. And I want to encourage you that as you start hearing different things in the world or people are suffering, raise your vibration. And a few ways to do that is pray, put some music on, go to church, walk on sand, get out in nature, hug a baby, hug your pet, smile, laugh. And remember, the sun always shines after a storm. There will be sunshine again. And those are the words of encouragement that you want to offer to yourself, to other people. And that's the word I want to leave for you, that in the midst of the suffering that we're going through, to keep your body as healthy as possible, you need to vibrate at the highest vibration. And that doesn't mean ignoring the realities of what's going on in the world. Go ahead, recognize it, feel it, see it. And then rise back up, because remember, the sun will always shine after a storm.